The kids that listen to this music are killing themselves and each other because of it. The music is called heavy metal. Industrial Pittsburgh, deep in the heavy metal heartland of America. This is Metallica, the most powerful new metal band in the world. The message is that in a violent and dangerous society, the future for these kids is probably no future at all. And that's what frightens the opponents of heavy metal. This is the real youth culture of the early 90s. According to a national lobby group, the Parents Music Resource Centre, there have been 30 teenage suicides and 150 murders because of heavy metal since 1986.
There is a side effect to marketing your product with a death message. And the risk is that the interpretation will be that death is the product and that the bands want you to kill yourself.
Violence has always been a part of human society. And part of what these bands are rebelling against is the sweeping it under the rug, is the lie that there is no violence.
No band will encourage an audience to kill themselves. Dead people don't buy records. But it is true that suicide is a recurring theme in metal music. In 1987, 4 girls in Bakersfield, New Jersey, gassed themselves in a van. This song, Fade to Black, was found in the car stereo. A few days later, 2 young girls in Illinois copied the suicide. The lyrics to Fade to Black were found on the car seat between them.
Come on, let's be realistic, all right? You have a kid who listens to, like, some music by some band who writes some lyrics. I mean, if at the end of the day they unfortunately would end up, you know, either killing themselves or whatever, then you would suspect that the sort of the source of the problem is something that should hopefully be a lot larger than, you know, some rock band, you know, playing some, you know, open chords on a guitar.
There's been at least, I'd say 6 or 8 instances where kids come up to us and go, if it wasn't for Fade to Black, I would be dead right now. So that song made me not kill myself.
Australia is about to feel a new wave of heavy metal. Metallica is coming down to tour in May. And after what you've just seen, a lot of you, especially parents, may be frightened by the results. But what's frightening is not the music, it's the society that created it. According to the United States Department of Justice, 5,000 teenagers commit suicide in this country every year. That works out to about 14 a day. So it's a cop-out just to blame the music. Because it's not like punk. It doesn't come from the vicious inner city. The bands and their fans live here in white middle-class suburbia. They write about death and violence to cut through to an audience already desensitized by the nightly horror on the 6 o'clock news.
I think, you know, different bands have different approaches and there are different things that get people off. You know, if some band wants to sit and write about Satanism or, you know, initiating people to kill themselves or, you know, is writing about, you know, mass murder, all that. I mean, who am I to sit and tell them not to? Because I think at the end of the day, we're talking about some very basic things, which is like, you know, freedom of speech.
The argument about this music goes much deeper than the old argument about the sexuality of Elvis or the anarchy of the Sex Pistols. All over the world, garage bands like these guys in New Jersey are becoming more and more violent as they compete for attention. And never before has death played such a big part in popular culture.
Okay, now some kid goes out and commits suicide, right? Some old guy goes out and commits suicide, right? There's a reason why there's something wrong with this person to commit suicide. It's obvious that maybe they should be in the psycho ward before they stick the knife in their gut. I mean, everybody in the world is not normal.
No matter which way you look at it, metal is about horror. Monsters, ghouls, and angels of destruction leer out of the album covers. Bands called Megadeth, Abattoir, Slayer and Dead on arrival bash out songs called Regurgitated Guts and Scream Bloody Gore. And Satanism, with its ready-made imagery, is a perfect source of inspiration. This is the Satanic band Venom.
A lot of the satanic murders that have occurred across this country have been kids killing other kids. 17-year-old girls killing 15-year-old girls. 16-year-old boys killing 16 and 17-year-old boys.
Last year, New Jersey detective Paul Hart investigated one of the most brutal murders ever connected to heavy metal Satanism. Tommy Sullivan, just turned 14, murdered his mother and killed himself, with a violence the police described as demonic.
Tommy literally butchered his mother, and I don't think that any of us that were there that evening will ever forget that. There were approximately 40 stab wounds inflicted on his mother from the neck up. His death was as violent.
Can you or do you blame heavy metal music in this situation?
For the week or so before the murder-suicide, he had constantly listened to a song by a group that we weren't able to identify, unfortunately, that dealt with killing your mother.
Now, I've seen the photos of that murder-suicide, and they're the most horrific things I've ever seen. The music alone could never make anyone behave so viciously, but the Tommy Sullivan case is just one of 6 that have occurred here in New Jersey in the last 2 years. 6 teenagers, all heavy metal fans, all under the age of 18, have either gassed, shot or stabbed themselves to death. Now, nobody's going to blame the music alone, but everyone involved believes it's a factor. So the real issue is the music enough to send an unstable kid like Tommy Sullivan over the edge?
It's nice to have a scapegoat, and I think heavy metal is a scapegoat for this. Heavy metal examines these adolescent feelings, examines the feeling of imminent death, examines the feeling that you're victimized, examines all the things that you don't see in sort of happy talk television shows and movies.
Why do we have to have our kids' bodies piling up like bodies in a Shakespearean tragedy before we'll wake up and say, look, that's how they're being programmed?
Lawyers Tim Post and Ken McKenna are seeking several $1 million damages from the English band Judas Priest, following a double shooting in Reno, Nevada 4 years ago. Ray Belknap and James Vance shot themselves after a 6-hour drinking bout. They locked themselves in a room, smoked some marijuana, and listened to the same track over and over again. Belknap died instantly. Vance survived, mutilated. He underwent 159 hours of surgery before he died of a drug overdose in November last year.
The main thing that he kept impressing upon me was how when he would listen to this group's music, it was more than just being amped or psyched up. It actually altered his behavior, altered his thoughts, and he became brainwashed and mesmerized. He just kept impressing upon me how the music made him do it.
I think you have to put in another substance along the way to create mesmerization or hypnotization. But I think it's very unfair for us to be just drawn out from the melting pot of heavy metal and be used as a specific example, as though we're the only band that's capable of killing your children. It's a lot of garbage, you know.
Do you feel in any way responsible?
I can't be held responsible for a kid killing themselves or attempting to kill themselves, because I have no control over the situation.
Tony and Phyllis Vance believe Judas Priest did have control of the situation. They say their son shot himself because a subliminal message, a secret instruction, do it, was hidden in the record. Their lawyers claim the band put it there to make fans buy more albums. And that's the basis of the case before the Nevada courts.
What James said to me that after they was listening to it, he said one of them, and he didn't say he said it or Ray said it, but he said, let's do it. And there's nothing else that leads me to believe that anything else but that caused their death.
He'd quote the song lyrics just as if they were scriptures out of the Bible, and that would really upset me, because it's like, how can you quote that so pronounced like he did? And he knew it. He knew the music had caused him to shoot himself and for Ray to die.
It's a joke. It's a joke, especially related to us. I mean, who in their right mind wants to put a subliminal message, do it, kill yourself, throw yourself off a building? What the hell is the point in doing that? It doesn't make sense to me.
If justice is to be served in this argument, then you have to remember that for every victim of murder or suicide, there are millions of fans who grow up to be ordinary, respectable adults. Is it fair to blame music for the actions of irrational psychotics?
You get a panel of potential killers and suicides and have them listen to every song and see whether that would set them off. I mean, it just becomes insane. It becomes as insane as the activities depicted in the songs.
Heavy metal has taken the position for 10 years that they are under no social responsibility. Zero. And they have not self-policed themselves. They have not done anything to show that they are going to have a social conscience. And they now have to pay a price for what they've done. What I think they should do in the future is develop a social conscience and realize they're dealing with our future of our youth.